Wait, this is being recorded? Shoot.
Yeah, hey! Welcome to Zinger's Comedy and our weekly Live at 5 show. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. we are live. Please make sure that you have your video turned off, your music, not your music, our music that just got turned off, your audio turned off. And then make sure you give suggestions in the chat whenever we need a suggestion for one of our scenes. Now we're going to go ahead and get the show going. We're going to take the slide off and we're going to get our show started with our first game. It's a game called Slogans. What are the slogans? Is that we are going to give you guys suggestions for the new slogans for our COVID-19 companies, which all companies are now COVID-19 companies. So we're going to give you their new slogans for the year 2020. And we're going to start off with just give us any company or brand name, and we will start off with new slogans for them in 2020. What do we got? Right there in the chat. Any company or brand name? All right,
everybody type in one.
Zoom. Zoom.
Oh, there you go.
Zoom. How appropriate. Zoom. All right, Matthew.
Zoom, making the pants-free office possible.
There you go. There you go. And Mike.
Pay no attention to the Chinese servers behind the curtain. Trying to kill Roy.
Kevin. Kevin.
Zoom, like Cisco WebEx, but free.
That one actually kind of made sense.
I'm sorry, I forgot what I was doing. Making sense. Oh my gosh.
We need another company or brand name. Another company or brand name for our next round of slogans. What do we got here? We got. Let's see here. Right in the chat, we got.
Zoom.
I just came up with another Zoom one. Gosh darn it.
We got another Zoom. No. Got the Dallas Zoo. So
the Dallas Zoo.
Zoo. The Dallas Zoo. I got one. The Dallas Zoo, now open in 2020, but you can't see any animals. Okay, Matthew.
The Dallas Zoo, now with 100% less Joe Exotic.
Oh my gosh.
All righty, there you go. Okay, how about we need another company or brand name, for our next round of slogans. What do we have in the chat? We've got Spring Creek Barbecue. Spring Creek Barbecue, very good. So Spring Creek Barbecue. Who's got some for Spring Creek Barbecue? Mike.
Spring Creek Barbecue. 1 out of 1 Tiggers agree. It's the hoppiest barbecue ever.
Okay.
Matthew's like, okay.
All right, Spring Creek Barbecue. Now our meat is socially distanced.
Okay. Another company. No, I'm sorry, Mike.
Spring Creek Barbecue. Socially distancing meat from itself for the last ever.
Oh,
there you go. All right, Kevin, you had one? Kevin.
Spring Creek Barbecue. Soon to be Fall River Barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's horrible.
Spring Creek Barbecue has new ownership. We're now COVID Creek Barbecue.
Okay, on that note, let's go to next suggestions is Walmart. Walmart. Matthew.
Walmart. Now the employer for 80% of America.
Okay, I got one. Walmart. Our lines just got longer.
Oh.
Ouch.
Walmart. Still cheap, still crappy.
Matthew.
Walmart. We sell more than just walls.
I got one. Walmart. We're COVID free because it doesn't want to come in.
Oh.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, I think we'll end on that one there.
Yay.
All right, next game is a game called Pitch Perfect. The way Pitch Perfect works is that we are going to be corporate salesmen pitching a new product or service to solve a problem. We're going to be utilizing slides with pictures and words on them. We have no idea what slides are going to pop up. They are going to be popping up totally at random using a automated system. We have no idea what's going to pop up, but we have to utilize every single thing that pops up, picture and words, to make our pitch to describe this new product or service. So what I need from you guys in the audience, I need a problem that needs to be solved. A problem that needs
Fingers.
Fingers.
What?
Fingers.
Fingers are a problem?
That's a
Apparently,
problem right there.
That's the problem we got. They said it's real, I promise. Fingers is the problem.
In the
we're
screen.
solving.
Fingers in the screen. Okay.
Oh, fingers in the screen.
Yeah.
Is the
That's
problem.
a problem.
Okay, fingers in the screen is the problem. Okay, so this is y'all's fault. Okay. All right, so fingers in the screen, problem that you are causing needs to be solved. So we're going to start with Mike, and away we go with our presentation.
Good afternoon. We wanted to welcome you here. We know that your time is valuable. Just wanted to start here with talking about some core competencies. Now, when it comes to things like, when it comes to your electronic devices, can we all agree that those little fingers coming towards the screen are just like little baby birds? They can't be fed enough. Well, we figured it was time to address that. Kevin?
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, funny story. Just a few minutes ago, we were seeing this problem with the fingers at the screen, on the screens, but all of a sudden they disappeared. Now, what we've got here is a multi-tool approach to solving the problem. So for our startup, we're going to go to Roy. Roy, can you get us started with the tools?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Kevin. You know, this is it's a problem as old as a dinosaur itself. And this is even though technology is somewhat new, having fingers where they don't belong or just in the way is just it's a long view story, a story from long ago that's continuing to this very day, and we wanted to snap that problem shut right now. And I know that the best way to do that can be better explained by Matthew. Matthew, can you please explain how we can snap this problem closed?
Thank you so much, Roy. Well, you know, at first you think, gosh, those fingers are just so cute and adorable. But then they start getting bigger and they start snapping and they like to bite at you. And then you're just like, oh, all right, we got to figure out the best way to stop fingers from becoming a practice. So we have to break the habit. And for step one, I'm going to throw it over to Mike.
That's right. Fingers can be a bad habit. So let me give you a number. 4. 4 is how many hands are definitely too many to be using on a digital device at the same time. You see, most normal touchscreen devices can really only handle up to about 10 contacts because you really only have 10 fingers on a normal hand, or 10 toes if you really want to use your iPad with your feet. But 4 is too many unless, oh, and this was amazing, unless, in fact, you know what, Kevin, I'm not going to steal your thunder. Go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that opportunity to not have my thunder stolen there. But you know, what's really important when we're dealing with solutions over here is authenticity. We have to be really true to what we're dealing with. Otherwise, you know, you're just a ship adrift on a sea of unknowns. It's amazing. So Matthew, I'm sorry, Roy. Roy, can you elaborate?
Thank you, Kevin. I sure can, but I have something unexpected to tell you.
Oh.
I have something very unexpected. Fingers are priceless. Just like a beautiful gem. You need to have them to wear beautiful gems. You also need to have them to pick things up. So the problem cannot be resolved by just getting rid of the fingers. That won't work because they are precious. So Matthew, tell me, what's the first way we're going to get rid of this problem without getting rid of our fingers?
Well, it's important that we scale up our work towards solving this, because what we discovered, we went out and we did some research, and we found out that 3 in 10 adults have fingers. Now, I mean, it blew me away.
3?
I was like, that's more than I thought. I mean, everyone I know personally is missing most of their fingers.
How many homeless, fingerless people do you know?
They're not homeless. It's just, there's just been a lot of accidents with fireworks where I live. But at any rate, I hang out with a lot of NFL players. So what we got to do is we got to ramp up. We have to start adding more. We got to put the chips down, and we have to make a difference to stop fingers from getting into screens. So Mike, go ahead and I'm gonna throw it over to you and let you continue this little.
This little what?
This little presentation.
A little, you know what? Okay, so here's what we discovered. Fingers, because of their ability to grip on your hand, except on everyone else that Matthew knows other than us, have this tendency to converge because of why? A gripping action. Listen, the bottom line is that we realized that getting a grip on the fingers and screen action was like getting a grip on other surprising things. After all, just like a polar bear likes to suck on the ear of other polar bears, we realized that hands like suck on each other's fingers in a grasp of friendliness and sometimes even romance. This was a surprising clue to our solution, Roy. Or no, who is it? Kevin. Ooh, misspelled even.
Ooh.
And I'm supposed to pull this airplane up out of that dive, huh? Okay. Of course, whenever we're dealing with problems and solutions, one of the things we have to discuss is money. Okay? This is not coming cheap. We are talking a briefcase full of cash to fix this issue. All right? Fortunately, it was going to be 2 briefcases, but we managed to find some synergy where we could work some of these solutions together and save at least 1 briefcase. So Matthew, why don't you talk about that?
All right. Well, thank you, Kevin.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Roy. I keep on trying to throw it to Matthew.
Hey, everybody wants a piece of me.
I guess so, Matthew. But before we get to the piece of you, I want to talk about the revolutionary way that we have decided to solve this problem. You see, fingers need to be able to move in order to move and get into the screen. But we've also found through science that when fingers get cold, they don't move as well. They get stiff. That's why people who are dead are called stiffs, because they don't move. And so what we do is we want to make sure that your fingers are too stiff to get in the way. So our first way of solving this problem involves a lot of ice. I mean, like a mountain of ice that we surround the fingers with in a loving way until they freeze into a point of not being able to move. And Matthew, what's the next step after this one?
Well, obviously, you can't just end with ice, because really what you have to do is you're going to have to break it. You're going to have to break the fingers. Like, they are the habit. So you're just going to have to, you send them down. You'll freeze them, and then you will just send them out, and will drop and fall off. When your fingers have fallen off, then not only do you not only have fingers in the screen, you're able to use your palms as a branding opportunity so that you can raise money. That's the genius of this, is that not only are we solving the problem, we're also making it pay for itself. And Mike's gonna, Kevin, look what you did. Mike now is gonna tell you a little bit about how this is gonna work out.
Yeah, absolutely. And by paying for itself, what Matthew means is after we take that briefcase full of cash. Can you tell that Matthew was the head of our R&D department on this program with his fingerless friends? So here's the thing.
How do you think they came?
What is the most important thing? Are your fingers the most important thing? Well, they're precious, but they're obviously not the most important thing, or we wouldn't freeze them and then break them off of users' hands. No. The most important thing is what you do with the fingers. See, we discovered that once the fingers are broken off, they make fabulous, fabulous gifts. Kevin's going to tell you more.
Okay.
Now, somewhere right in here, as we were working on the freezing and breaking and such, somebody stood up and said, "No, just no." So we went back to the drawing board.
We don't have fingers.
Blank. It was a glass drawing board, and we stared. Roy, tell them what happened next.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Well, because we did decide that maybe fingers are precious enough to not be destroyed in a frozen destroying methods where we freeze and destroy the fingers, we did say no, that was not a very viable option to solving this problem. And now we are back to the drawing board. And not only is this a drawing board, it's a game changer of a drawing board. I can tell you that right now. Because we're going to do what no one else ever does to solve a problem. We're going to medicate it. That's right. We're going to give them lots of drugs to medicate the problem, which is simply a brand new way of solving medical issues. No one has done it before. It's so exciting how we are the first ones to medicate solving problems. Matthew, tell them about our new drug.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this because seriously, this drug, I mean, it's like a star. I mean, it's just my head is exploding because I cannot wait to tell you how we are able not only to present this drug, but to get it to you by seeding it in clouds. Our service uses clouds to provide drugs to every person in America. So no one will ever have fingers in their Zoom calls ever again. I mean, seriously, it's like I'm just standing and I'm looking out and I've just got my hand up and I'm like, here, this is it. This is it, people. Man, I'm so excited. I mean, Mike, please help me get these people in.
Right. So, yes, our plan was not to freeze everyone's fingers off. Instead, we are going to seed the clouds and have the rain cast the medication that paralyzes everyone's fingers over the entire population. And that seems like a bad plan, but what if guinea pigs, what if we could prove to you before we executed that it was working? Look, we don't want to cavy to people's objections, but what we do want to do is to nibble on greenery and move forward. Kevin, why don't you tell them how?
Well, again, I'm pulling the airplane up out of the dive.
No, those ones aren't in a dive.
You know,
they're in a diamond.
Since
Call back.
Since 2012, we have been in formation been information to get to solving this issue. It's been a long road, and if we'd flown, we would have gotten there faster, I'm sure. But never mind that, Roy. I think we're just about ready to wrap up. Not quite. I know you've got one more point you wanted to take care of before we throw it.
That's right, Kevin. There is one more point I want to make sure that everyone is fully knowledgeable about when it comes to our new solving of this problem. That is the key differentiator between us and everybody else. You see, our medication will make you feel like a healthy duck, not a sick green duck, but a healthy, strong yellow duck.
With no fingers.
The kind of duck that you want to have with you in your tub. Not the sick one that makes you want to throw up in your toilet. No, you want the good duck. And that is the key differentiator of our drug, is that it will not make you sick. Now, Matthew, let's take it away and make sure we get this sale.
Yeah, I mean, look, let's get right to the point. This is a bullseye opportunity. I mean, there is no way that you can miss out if you get in now on the ground floor. I guarantee you 28% annual returns on your investment.
Woo!
And not only that, no more fingers in your Zoom video. You know what? They will probably build a statue to us when we're done, because, folks, this is just amazing. But again, you've got to get in now, today, this minute, because if you come to us next week, I can only promise you 27% returns. So let's get on board, folks. That's a whole percentage point. That's like $1 million over 1 billion years. Thank you.
And that was the game Pitch Perfect. Now we'll move on to our next game, a game called Hollywood Director. The way Hollywood Director works is that I am a Hollywood director, and Mike, Kevin, and Matthew are starring in our next production. And what we need for this production is a title. So if you want to go ahead and put a title into the chat of a movie you would like to see, and not a real movie, make up a title, something that's really fun, you think would be a fun thing to see, and then we will create that movie for you. And I, as a director, will keep coming in and making sure that I'm directing this properly to where it's going to come out to be a mega, mega hit. So what we need, like I said right now, is in the chat section, we need some kind of title. It could be anything. And let's see what our title is.
Be safe, everybody. SpaceX.
SpaceX.
Ooh, the Atom. SpaceX
is our title. And actors, action.
Are you ready to go to space?
I am prepared for liftoff.
This will be the final frontier.
Aye, and we'll be the first ones there.
All right, if you're ready, engage.
All right. Oh no, the engines can't. What? What's wrong? What's wrong with that?
What's wrong with that?
That was.
Oh man.
I don't want to engage with any of that. That was horrible. That was horrible. Look, I know this is the first virtual movie Paramount Studios is putting together, but it's got to be better than that piece of crud. So we got to start off again. Let's try something different, okay? You know what sells? Action movies sell. Action movies sell a lot. Tons of action movies sell. So here's what I'm
going to be a sellout.
Yeah, I am a sellout. You know why? Because it's Paramount. So tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. We're not a big Disney, but we still need big stars. We can't afford them. That's where you guys are going to come in. Got it? Matthew, you're Arnold Schwarzenegger. Kevin, you're Jean-Claude Van Damme. Mike, you
big stars.
Big stars. You're Steven Seagal. Okay? So let's do the scene again with big action stars. Action.
Let us go into space.
I'm ready for
I
liftoff.
will pump you up.
You may have the biceps, but I have the flexibility.
This will be the final frontier.
Steven, how are you doing?
It's time to engage.
Cut. Yeah, that was a big mistake. We're not doing that. I just found out from our lawyers that those 3 actors could sue us if we do that. So we're not going to do that. Tell you what, we're going to do something totally different. I want to go in opposite direction. We're not going to go action. We're going to go family film.
Ah.
Kind of like, I don't know. I can't say it without getting sued, so I'm not going to. Here's what you guys do. You guys are going to be hand puppets and perform the entire scene as hand puppets, not muppets, but hand puppets. Are you ready? Action!
Oh, I've never been to space before.
This will be the final frontier.
I'm ready for liftoff. Wow.
I need a hand met.
A hand met?
Yes, a hand met, not a helmet.
Would somebody nail the engines?
Somebody give me a hand here.
Cut.
Engage the ring shield.
No. Cut. That's. It's so close. It's so close. But you guys you're not giving it your all. You're just not. And there's one way I know to give it your all. That's to sing. You're gonna pour your heart out in song as hand puppets. Action.
Star Wars, nothing but Star Wars. It's the Star Wars.
By all means, this will be
Major Tom.
the final frontier.
We're floating. It's so beautiful up here.
Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
That's it. Oh, we did it. Yeah. Number 1 at the box office.
Yay! They'll never let us make another movie again. We killed the film industry.
The end of Paramount as we know it. All right, so our final game for the evening.
We finished.
Our final game for the evening is a game called Last Second Expert. I'm going to let Mr. Mike Peterson take over and explain this game to you folks. Mike, Last Second Expert.
Absolutely. Let me pull up my timer here. So in the game of Last Second
Expert.
Yeah, that game. Hopefully I learned to speak. On the bright side, I don't have to speak much for this game. In fact, that's part of the point. These other 3 gentlemen are your new experts on a topic you've always secretly wondered a little bit more about. We are Zarv-Cove 2-4. What the heck, Matthew? Totally lose my train of thought. These guys are experts on a topic of your choice that you've always kind of wished you knew more about. So, what I need in the chat is something that you wish that you knew somebody who was an expert on. This could be something that they're actually an expert on, or something that no one's an expert on, but you think it'd be interesting to hear people argue about. These guys are going to then discuss that and debate it and challenge each other over their expertise about the topic, and float around a little bit and eventually decide or determine who is the last second expert. We are going to put 2 seconds or 2 minutes on the clock.
That'd be a really fast game.
Oh, sidewalks. Oh, sidewalks is so good. Okay, sidewalks is our topic.
But bunnies was there first.
Sidewalks is the choice.
All right, 2 minutes on the clock. And the one who's most likely to walk around and use a sidewalk, Roy, I'm going to put you on first as the obvious expert of sidewalks. When you are ready, begin.
Yeah, sidewalks were invented back in 1902, back when you needed to be able to walk without stepping in horse poo. It was invented by a guy named
Matthew. Your hand is first.
Sidewalks were actually invented to allow you to walk sideways.
Oh, Kevin?
We were needing to avoid stepping in horse poo long before 1902.
That's true. Let's talk about going sideways, though. Matthew, that sounds good. 1 minute, 50 seconds on the clock. When you're ready, begin.
Yeah, that was originally that was how that people were going to stop cars. Cars were getting really popular, so they said, let's get people to walk sideways, and then they'll want to walk more often. So they put in sidewalks. That's where the term came from.
Roy.
It's quite well known that the first person who walked sideways was a gentleman named Otto von Sidewalk.
Challenge.
Matthew?
There are photos of Egyptian pharaohs walking sideways in the Great Pyramid.
Not a challenge.
That's true, but the sidewalks weren't invented until 1902. So let's go with Otto von Sidewalk, Roy. 1 minute, 37 seconds on the clock when you're ready.
Otto von Sidewalk was the first man that was actually recorded from history before the Egyptians were known about, who created sidewalks because he walked sideways to avoid poo and traffic.
Challenge.
Yes, Kevin.
Sidewalks were invented in America, not Germany. And he's obviously German from his name.
Challenge.
Roy?
He's a German immigrant.
Oh.
Challenge.
Matthew.
We don't want those.
Challenge.
Roy.
This is before World War II, so they were fine.
Oh, fair enough. That's a good point.
Right,
Roy.
challenge.
What,
We fought him
Matthew?
in World War I too.
It was still before that.
No one cares about World War I.
Fair enough.
Or Korea. All right, Roy, 1 minute, 25 seconds on the clock when you're ready.
The great German engineer Otto von Sidewalk created sidewalks as a way to impress his mistress, the lovely lady Pothole. And
Challenge.
Kevin.
Otto was not married, so therefore he couldn't actually have a mistress.
Challenge.
Be a girlfriend.
Matthew.
Mistress is the German word for fine lady.
Yep, that's true.
Let's hear about German fine ladies, Matthew. You have 1 minute, 15 on the clock when you're ready.
Yes.
Begin.
Yeah, in Germany, there's a lot of different ways to introduce a woman. There's Herr, there is her, there is hey you, and there is mistress. Mistress isn't used as often.
Yes, Roy.
He has forgotten about the most popular way, which has since died off, Heil.
Challenge. Let's not do
Oh my
this.
gosh. Matthew, what's your
You
challenge?
did not do that, Matthew.
Let's not do this.
I'm kind of inclined to
It's
agree.
not popular anymore.
Matthew, 1 minute, 3 seconds on the clock. Go for it, Matthew.
Yeah, but mistress was much more common in the late 19th century, before World War I, when the Germans attacked France, which
Challenge.
was also what they did in World
Kevin.
War II.
World War I was in the early 20th century, not the late 19th century.
Which would have been before sidewalks were invented.
But I said that mistress was before
Yeah, but
in the
like
19th
the
century.
side. How
And it
early
was
did we
not-
think
it-
Otto
it-
was born?
But I was talking about the word mistress, that it fell out of favor after World War I.
Oh, I see. But we don't care about World War I. Kevin, you got 54 seconds on the clock. When you're ready, begin.
Where were we? Oh, yes, sidewalks. Sidewalks was where we actually were.
Challenge.
Yes, Matthew.
There is some evidence that there were sidewalks at the time of the Franco-Prussian War.
We don't care about that war either. Kevin, 49 seconds on the clock. When you're ready, begin.
Sidewalks now, of course, are in use in cities across the world.
Challenge.
Roy.
Sidewalks are also used in everyday neighborhoods, not just cities.
Yeah, that's very fair.
Neighborhoods
Matthew.
are in cities.
No, not.
Sidewalks
Oh,
were the
them.
leading cause of the War of the Roses because of street vendors.
Yeah, we definitely don't care about that one. Roy, tell us about neighborhoods located outside of city limits. When you're ready.
Neighborhoods are not always in cities. They're also in towns and other kind of small, little
Alan.
places.
Matthew.
Not according to nextdoor.com. You only can have a neighborhood if you have a certain number of people.
That's fair. Matthew, why don't you tell us about nextdoor.com? 35 seconds.
Neighborhoods didn't actually exist until the internet came along, and a company was able to get funding and then create neighborhoods. Now, neighborhoods now allow us to complain about cats that get loose, or my dog's missing, or that guy on the...
Kevin.
Neighborhood
Roy?
more than complaining about.
No, I said meant Kevin first because his hand went up first on my screen. No, Kevin, go ahead.
The neighborhoods are for far more than complaining about pets. They're also for complaining about kids.
Challenge.
Okay, Roy? Well, hold on, Matthew. I got to hear Roy's objection, too.
Neighborhood.com was technically the real start of the War of the Roses because with street vendors, neighborhood.com got the neighbors all upset with them. And they actually started, it's a very small, uncommon fact, but it is true.
No, that's fair. We already established we don't care about that war. Matthew, you had an objection to Kevin?
Oh, yeah, you also use it to complain about your neighbors.
That's true,
as well
but
as ask
apparently you
people
didn't...
to get groceries for you. But I don't know why anyone would get groceries when all you do is complain about them.
Oh, yeah, but you didn't mention that one either. What? He's not the one getting it, Roy. What's wrong?
I'm just going to say that neighborhood.com is the best for complaining about sidewalks.
Right. Kevin, tell us about complaining about other people's kids in addition to pets. 22 seconds on the clock. When you're ready, begin.
Seriously, kids on the sidewalk just like making drawings and painting and just...
Challenge.
Roy.
Both kids and pets have one complaint in common when it comes to sidewalks. That's about they go to the bathroom on sidewalks.
Challenge.
I don't know how you raise your kids, Roy. Matthew?
Yeah, I think we need to call someone about Roy and his children.
I agree. Matthew, why don't you tell us about calling CPS on Roy? 14 seconds left.
See, what it is
Challenge.
that when you're a parent...
Roy.
Okay, Matthew, you don't even have kids. He has no right to say how I parent. He has no idea.
Challenge.
Matthew.
I have a cat.
Challenge.
Roy.
Are you a cat lady? Because otherwise it don't matter.
Oh, challenge. I have a cat and I don't let him go to poo on the sidewalk.
Challenge.
Kevin.
Having a cat is not like having kids. It's like having another adult.
Yeah.
Challenge. It's like having an adult that hates you.
Still an adult.
I don't want to call in any of the three of you right now. But Roy, why don't you tell us more about how cats and kids are not the same fit? Oh, I see a challenge from the First Order Stormtrooper. Yes?
Wait, no, let him talk.
Okay, I'm going to call on the First Order Stormtrooper and ask him to tell us, explain to us why Matthew should be shot in the head by himself. 12 seconds left on the clock. First Order Stormtrooper, please, when you're ready.
Challenge.
Please, let me out of here.
Roy, what the heck, Roy?
Stormtroopers have no right to be an expert on this because they don't have sidewalks in space. How do you know?
Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. Roy, why don't you tell us about the lack of sidewalks in space and how stormtroopers are stupid? Go ahead. 9 seconds left on the clock.
They can't even aim properly. How do they build a sidewalk in space?
Yes, Matthew.
Challenge.
Or Kevin. Sorry, Kevin was first.
Stormtroopers' aim has nothing to do with why the sidewalks are not in space.
Interesting. Matthew?
If they'd had sidewalks in space, the Emperor wouldn't have fallen down that shaft at the end of Return of the Jedi.
You know what? That's an even better point. What, Roy?
If does not mean they have them, and they don't have them, and that's the issue here. But they don't.
Well, that was kind of Matthew's point, is that they don't, because if they did, then the Emperor wouldn't have fallen down the shaft.
This is why sidewalks are so important.
Matthew, 7 seconds. Tell us about sidewalks and how they prevent emperors from falling down shafts into endless space.
Exactly, because like if Darth Vader had picked him up and there was a sidewalk,
If there was a sidewalk, he just would have fallen a couple of inches farther when Vader threw him.
That's kind of Matthew's point. Roy?
It's actually a very well-known fact that the descendant of Otto von Sidewalk, Darth Sidewalk, was supposed to build a sidewalk on the Death Star, but they ran out of budget.
Oh, son of a gun. I got to hear about Darth Sidewalk. Roy, 5 seconds left on the clock when you're ready.
Darth Sidewalk was a very great Darth man.
Kevin.
Darth Sidewalk is not canon.
Challenge.
Uncanon.
Canon changes according to the whims of whoever owns Star Wars.
I like that you're supporting Roy on this one. Roy?
Precisely, and they're not.
Darth Sidewalk didn't build cannons, he built sidewalks.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yes, Matthew.
If there had been cannons during the War of the Roses, then the sidewalk.
No one cares about that war. All right, Roy, tell us about Darth Sidewalk and his lack of sidewalk budget. 2 seconds remain on the clock. When you're ready, begin.
The 7 Years' War.
What, Matthew? What?
7 Years' War.
No one cares about any of your wars, Matthew.
Challenge.
Yes, Roy.
The 7 Years' War was actually Star Wars.
Challenge.
For 7 years.
The Whiskey
Well,
Rebellion.
that's an interesting point there. Matthew.
The Whiskey Rebellion.
No, nor the Stamp Act Rebellion. Kevin.
No, I thought Roy was going. I was going to challenge him I was going to challenge Roy, but
He didn't say anything yet. How are you going to challenge him?
Challenge.
I thought
Matthew,
he was
what?
If we actually had a sidewalk, Roy would be able to speak.
Actually, if we had a sidewalk, Otto von Sidewalk would be speaking. Roy, tell us more about Darth Sidewalk. You've got 1 second left on the clock. When you're ready.
Darth Sidewalk was great with some
Challenge.
terrible with numbers.
Kevin. Okay, Roy, keep going. Roy, keep going. Oh, gosh darn it. Matthew, what?
Spoiler alert, at the end, Darth Sidewalk says, "I am your elevator."
Oh, man, and Matthew, it's our last second.
Oh, well, congratulations, Matthew, and you win your last second estimate. Good job, good job.
Couldn't have done it without him.
We had a great time. We had a great time here. Remember, we're here every Saturday, live at 5 until we're able to reopen our doors. We're not quite sure when that's going to happen yet, but we're going to do it as soon as we can. Until then, if you would like to have a private Zoom show, we do private Zoom shows that we can do for birthdays or just family get-togethers online. And if you know of any nonprofits or churches who need to raise money but they don't know how right now, we actually now have a virtual fundraiser we help them with as well. So if you know anyone who needs our help, send them our way. We'd appreciate it. Until then, we'll see you again next week live at 5. Laugh on. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hey.